Welcome to the wilderness of creativity, a space where artists, dreamers, and makers share the messy, beautiful truth behind the creative process. With 13,000 views on YouTube and almost 50 episodes, it's come a long way. I'm your host, Lucy, and I consider myself a story catcher, someone who creates space for vulnerability and honesty. And this podcast is different. It's not about polished success stories. It's about those real conversations, creative courage, and the wild paths that we take to make something meaningful. If you're craving depth, inspiration, and a reminder that you're not alone in your creative journey, then you're in the right place. Subscribe now on your favourite platform and step into the wilderness with us. Thanks for listening. Stay wild. We'll end up chatting and we'll get to 9 o'clock and we're like, shit, I haven't pressed record. And then we'll have said all of these beautiful things. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Wilderness of Creativity. I'm your host Lucy, and today I'm introducing you to a very special guest, Leah Evans, a joy coach, mother of 3, passionate dancer and vibrant energy influencer. Leah is a former teacher who made the bold decision to leave the classroom and pursue her calling to inspire joy. She is completely committed to encouraging others to embrace life wholeheartedly and to prioritise their well-being and happiness. In this episode, we explore the common misconception of perfection. We discuss ways to find joy in everyday moments, and Leah emphasises the importance of cultivating joyful habits. Leah also shares her approach to creating meaningful resources and fostering connections through dance, reminding us that joy is best when shared. If you enjoyed today's episode, please do share it with a friend, and remember to subscribe to The Wilderness of Creativity wherever you listen to the podcast. Right, let's get to the episode.
Yeah, so somebody messaged me last week saying, are you always up? Like, what do you do on a down day? And I think it's that thing, isn't it, of you believe what you see. So if you see somebody's posts or just see them in life and they always seem like they've got everything together, it's not telling the whole truth, is it? It's not telling the whole story. So actually you're wearing a nice leopard print shirt on top, but then you look underneath and wearing my pink animal print.
Did you post that on Instagram?
My stories now.
Were you mix matching?
I'm mix matching.
I'll have to find that.
Yeah, because I think it's just that thing, isn't it, of going like, don't be afraid to tell your truth, isn't it? And yes, it is scary because you open yourself up, don't you? And you're vulnerable then to criticism. But actually, I like to think that I will show you my humanity, and hopefully you in return will show me yours, and it'll help out both our shoulders drop and just go, oh, me too. So, I spoke to that person. I sent them a little voice note saying, no, of course I'm not always up. Like, it's human, isn't it? We're not always. This has a cost. Do you know what I mean? Like energy, isn't it? And it has to come out somewhere.
How amazing that person felt like they could reach out to you as well and ask that question, because your little voice note may have just made the difference that they needed today. And it it comes back to what we were talking about just a moment ago about that connection that drives us forward, isn't it? And it is really refreshing to meet people who are willing to be vulnerable with you, because it does make you relax. It does allow you to be authentic. And I feel like I'm really on that path of self-discovery again. Like I feel like I'm a teenager going through puberty again. Like I'm learning what I like, what I don't like, what I'm willing to put up with, where my boundaries need to be.
Yeah, yes.
But I'm doing it with fresh eyes, which makes it even more palpable and like raw and real.
It is like a new stage, I think, once you've had children as well. And you kind of gone through a massive life experience like having children and not be changed by it or not expect to be different, isn't it? And I think, I can't remember who it was, but said about the like flamingos who lose their pink, like when they have little ones, and then actually takes a little while to kind of bring their pink back. So maybe we're just bringing our pink back, like we're just working out who we are with fresh eyes, isn't it? And we've got better understand, like you said, about boundaries of what we like, what makes a difference, who matters to us. I'm like, you're right. It is vulnerable to be open and honest. And I am definitely an oversharer. Like I am such an oversharer. Anybody knows that. I'm like, oh, there's the line, everybody. I just found it for everyone. So if you want to step back, by all means, but I found it for everyone. So, maybe the postman doesn't need to know everything about me. And maybe I could just take the parcel. But, I'm sure he likes to chat.
It's funny because, like, I sometimes find it really difficult to find the joy of motherhood because having Oscar has made me realise all of my faults and flaws and foibles and in those moments, I mean, we were talking about it a few weeks ago, and I was saying I can remember him being smaller, and I remember being much more joyful back then because it was just us two. I think during COVID, it almost intensified those feelings. Whereas now, maybe it's because I'm back at work, but sometimes I find it really hard to kind of see those little glimmers.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I'm too tired, or so many things to organize when they go to school. I don't know did you feel this as well when they went to school? It's like a completely different step change.
Yeah. And there's just like so many more things to feel guilty about. Also, like so many more messages and WhatsApps coming through, or things to remember. And actually, my husband could be quite better at remembering some stuff. And I'm like, okay. But there's so many plates to spin, aren't there? And I remember years ago, I think it might have been Anna, saying, if you drop a ball when you it's not a sign on your failure to juggle them all. It's just the fact. It's an insight to how many you're trying to juggle. And I think I love that compassion and that grace and going, you're doing the best you can. But I think when we are overloaded, and especially, you're also working in school as well. So your overdrive, your sensitivity, your touch, I'd when I come back from school, I used to pull up in the car on the drive and just go, I'm just going to sit in the car and have my own spa break here. And I just couldn't quite transition. And they're like,
I'm like that as well.
Yes. Yeah. We're juggling so many things, and we're jumping roles so often. And I just think you've got to give yourself so much grace in that and go, this is a gear change, and that takes something from me. And it does, it takes something from you. And actually, not all motherhood is joyful. Let's just be honest and real about it and go, I am far from Mary Poppins. I don't know about you.
I'm definitely not Mary Poppins.
Yeah, I definitely am not Snow White. I don't have all the animals coming in to clean my house.
La 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 la. Get out the door now.
Get your shoes on. Put your shoes on. Yeah, exactly. So in our world now of constant bombardment, we also get constant images of perfect homes and perfect children and perfect parenting, and you should be doing this, and the shoulds and the guilt. And you know what? Love your children, and
that's it.
Do the best you can, and they don't need a perfect parent. And I same for teaching. I was when I was in a class, and I'll say to my supply classes, I am not perfect. They don't need a perfect teacher either, and I need to model messing up, because I think I definitely come from a background where adults weren't allowed to show that. Do you mean teachers are perfect, parents are perfect, and, never questioned anything. So we are now parenting in a very different way to the way that we are parented. So we've got to give ourselves credit and grace in that. So I just think, that's why I think, come on my house and take me as you find me. I might be matching to top to bottom, but I'll embrace you all the same. So, yeah. And I don't have all my ducks in a row, and hopefully, I don't even know my ducks are half the time, but hopefully it will just reassure you, do you know what I mean, that we are normal and we are doing our best, and to laugh even at ourselves, along the way. And actually then those glimmer moments, when you do have a moment, stop and drink it in and just say out loud. And that's my whole living loudly, is say out loud, well, isn't this lush? Isn't this lovely? And my mum is amazing for it. My mum is just she's phenomenal. She's just a wave of love, my mum. and she's got no idea how lush she is, which makes her even lusher. But she like she sent me a message today saying on the phone actually, and they were up at Blackpool, and she's like, "How are my babes about her grandchildren?" You're like, so I think it's just, and she will go. You could take her to the tip, and she'd be like, "Oh well, isn't this lovely?" Like, so she has just got that way. But she's taught me, I think, to, and I suppose, and from the joy coaching, I can kind of see it from that kind of viewpoint now, that when you do say it out loud, you anchor yourself in the now. And I think it just drops you in the present. So, and that's a gift, because we are speeding, aren't we? And there's job lists and there's things to do when we're tired, and, and life is thick and it's fast, and time will pause for you. So I think it's like loving loudly makes me pause it just for myself, that kind of like, and just saying it out loud. And I think, that gratitude, and is infectious to other people around you as well. Like, I've definitely noticed different people like say things more now because of it, which is lush.
It's hilarious because on my script, the first question is, how are you?
Love it.
What have you found joyful today?
I went for I laughed at myself because I arranged office club. Monday, whenever I can, we do office club, and it's just two of the mums from school, and we did it last year to kind of motivate each other and encourage each other. We'd meet in the pub down the road from school, and we've kept it going. And so it's lovely. So it's really, really nice. So we always laugh because we're not very decisive. And I'd picked the coffee shop. I knew exactly where we were going to meet, because I was going to go and get some this is more exciting, I know. Like bin bags for my food bin. I was like, yeah, sorted. I run in a little bit late, and then realise I've told them the wrong coffee shop.
Oh no.
But it's a group of people that are like, these two girls, they know me so well, and they love me so hard. Do you know what I mean? That I just thought, you know what?
They'll get it.
So I phoned and went, yes. So when I said that coffee shop, I meant this one, but I'll come to you now because you two are there. So that made me laugh. I just thought, acceptance, isn't it, of who you are.
In office club, do you just sit there with each other and you work through whatever you need to work through?
Yeah, it's like you used to do it like a working space. We used to do it for just motivation and accountability, and to begin with, just to get us out of the house and stuff like that. And then last week we did office club on tour. We went to the beach because it was sunny, and me and another mum went in the sea. She went up to her valuables and went, "Ooh, I can't breathe." So I was like, "Yeah, get out, it's fine." But it just made you feel alive. And, and it's an adventure, and it's just connection, and there's a lot of understanding the group. And today I saw them, I showed them some of my branding and stuff like that. So at the time,
do you do all your branding?
No, I've got a friend who has been playing around with some branding. So I'm in the almost like there basically with it, which is really exciting. It makes it feel even more real, because I love yours, by the way. Because obviously,
thank you.
Once you start looking, isn't it, you kind of notice everybody else's.
Yeah. It's really hard to choose.
Oh, it feels big.
And kind
it feels
of
so big.
design everything.
Yes.
So have you got someone to work with you, and you're kind of planning some ideas with them?
Yeah. So I've always wanted. I love sunsets. Sunsets and sunrises are like just my instant joy. They're just like instant fill me up. So I wanted that kind of like with the joy, so that the O would be a bit like a sun like ripple, and also because I love that joy ripples. So I wanted the ripple effect over the water. So so it's like find your joy. So we're just kind of like playing around with that, and I think an ocean kind of turquoisey blue maybe, and at the moment it's like a hot pink, but I think we might try and see if I can do a coral, maybe like kind of more like sunset. So so watch this space. I've got so many things in my head that I'm so excited about. I want to set up a membership. I'd love to do like office club. I love bringing people together. I'm a people gatherer. I think is something that I have always like the NCT gang. I've always organised them, just because I love a get together. So I think it's just kind of these things you realise they've been part of you for a long time. So you're kind of like leaning into and maybe you did not even recognise they were strengths before, but recognising their strengths and thinking, right, how can I use this? How can I use this for spreading? Being more of a joy spreader, which is in short what a child called me in school. And you're like, actually, that is kind of like what it is, isn't it? So I just thought it was lush, isn't it? Because when I say I'm a joy coach, people are like, what's that then? Like nicely, people go, oh yeah, I think you'd be great at it, Leah, which is nice. But yeah, to kind of like explain what it is, I just thought a joy spreader. That's lovely.
And I love the fact that you've taken that from one of your students, because I feel like children they resonate at that frequency.
Yeah,
I
they do.
think.
Yeah, they do. Absolutely.
More often than not. I'm not saying that everybody's childhood is joyful by any stretch of the imagination, but I think we're born with the propensity to be joyful and curious and all of that sort of stuff. So you're kind of helping us to tap into that inner child in some ways, aren't you?
Children don't wait to be ready for joy or deserving for joy, or check it's okay. Like they'll roll down the hill. They'll run into it. They'll, like you said, like, what is joyful? I think anytime one of my kids laugh at home, it is instant, isn't it? It's that infectious energy, and that, or like my youngest was drawing a dinosaur story in a book, and he was going through it, and then I started writing some of it for him, and then I went out with the other two, and then got back, and my husband had like written some more for him, and he's children's drawing. It's just joy, isn't there, of childhood? And I think, yeah, it's like tapping into going, what did I used to enjoy as a child? And have I forgotten that? Have I, if I used to like drawing, or I used to have time for art, maybe I should try that again. Or is there something that I've seen somebody else do that I go, gosh, that's lovely. Maybe I should try that. I think it's just being open, and curious.
Have you noticed that it started to infiltrate all aspects of your life?
I've started more recently wearing bright colours. I think I probably didn't fall, and I think it's that kind of and the whole, like I said, but like dopamine dressing, and yeah, I think it's obviously it's like, the words that we say and things that we do, but actually how you make somebody feel. I think, that's, and as a teacher, probably, like, how I make my class feel, that's what's remembered, isn't it? I think, and what you kind of like leave with people. And when one of the mums saw me in school, went, "Oh, Lee, you must be exhausted," because I just came onto the yard like, "Morning, how you doing?" And it's like, "Oh, it must be exhausting to be you." I did a joy coaching session for staff in my old school, which is amazing. Like, what a privilege to start. Like, scary, because they obviously know you would like to stand up and go, "So I left you and now I'm here as a joy coach." But I talked to them, and I was saying, and somebody said, "Oh," because I was saying that joy is infectious and positivity is infectious. And then somebody said, "But you know what? So is negativity. So is gossip." And you're like, yeah, actually, you're right. Being miserable, or like what you look for, you'll find. So if I want to look for negative, I'll find the negative. Whereas, when I like quotes, like, if I focus on joy, I'll find it more often. So if I'm open to the glimmers, if I'm open to finding those things, if I'm loving loudly when it comes, because I know it's not all the time. I think I've said to you before, but there's a point in my estate, and I walk the kids to school, and like, that's a privilege as well. And like, turn the corner and the sun hits my face, and I will always say, "Oh, isn't that lush?" And like, or I'll get towards the corner, I'll go to the kids, "It's coming, it's coming." They obviously think I'm weird, but that's fine. I'm the mother. So, and then, turn the corner, and it is, and I appreciate that now, because not every day is sunny. So actually, and for that person that asked me, "Leah, are you always up?" We know that the hard days are there. We know that that those difficult, and those life curveballs might come our way. And actually, that joy that we cultivate and that we encourage, those ordinary joys, not your Nobel Peace or you're flying up to NASA, your ordinary joys you cultivate day to day, they fill up your cup. So that's why I described to the kids. So I went into year 1 last week, and I was like, we've all got like a joy cup inside us, and what we say, what we do, or things that, we do things we enjoy, they fill up our joy cup. So when I and then I think a few of them were quite happy telling me that they'd filled up each other's cup at lunchtime or something, and it was really sweet. And you're like, me going off to the beach with the Office Club on tour, last week, it filled up my joy cup, and yes, I could have gone home and got on my laptop and just gone, actually, girls, there's so many things, because I'm juggling at the moment with supply and stuff. There's so many things I need to move forward. And that's why my hashtag this month is like, find the fun in February.
Yes, I love those hashtags. They're brilliant. What's going to be in March?
I already know. Make it happen in March.
Make it happen in March.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
I know, sorry. If you haven't realised that I am not normal, then
you are totally normal. You're my sort of normal. I love it.
You do gravitate, like you do.
You do,
definitely
totally.
Find your tribe, don't you? And you definitely find those people that it's just it's ease. I call it easy friendship, and it's just beautiful, isn't it? Because it's just that,
Again, it goes back to the beginning of our conversation. It happens when you really just accept who you are. Jumper and pajama bottoms underneath the desk. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would say that
yes,
making friends when you're older as an adult is really hard, because you've been through the mill. You have probably your friends from school or university, so you've kind of got your gang already. And so when you're out and about and maybe you're meeting mums for the first time and, all of that sort of stuff, you think, I better not show them that, or I better not tell them that, because, they might be, our children might play together, and therefore I need to put on a show. Does that make sense? So you kind of, you end up holding yourself back a little bit. And, you and I had babies during COVID. And so I didn't have mummy baby groups. All of the swimming clubs were closed, intermittently opening. And so it's only now that I've started to make mummy friends, and I cannot tell you how bloody fantastic it is.
It really is. But I think as well, what I love is that, I hope you give yourself the grace and to go, that was hard. Like, I had you had a different experience to motherhood than the people had. Like, I think the first time mums in lockdown, you're phenomenal. You're amazing. It was not, we are such, like, when you describe it then, like, like not being able to show your real self. And there's a difference between fitting in and belonging. And I love the difference. So fitting is when you're like, you shave off a part of you, or you hold back, or you feel like, better not say that opinion, or better not make that joke, they might not get it. That kind of, when you're trying to, you just kind of, you're not being really you. Belonging is admitting that you've said the wrong coffee shop, and you're like, you're gonna go, I wasn't as decisive as you thought, girls, because I meant the other coffee. But it's just, here I am, warts and all. I know that I can show you all of me, and you'll love me just the same. Actually, maybe even love me more. like, and I think, part of joy is finding that belonging, is finding people that you can just breathe out with, and like, energy wise, I call them like your sunshine people, that they are your human sunshine, and that you are just even by being near them just does something for you, gives you something. Or like seeing them on the school run, and like, you had lockdown, you didn't have that, like, so you didn't have that group of friends that you were all navigating a part of life together. So it's okay to mourn that. It's okay to feel, I didn't have that. I started last year to somebody called and Breathe Challenges. And I follow her for years, and she's really open about mental health. I think her mum died in lockdown, and so that's been a big shape part of her, that kind of, so she does a focus, so not she does a hashtag, which is a certain focus each month. So I thought that's a lovely idea. That's such a nice, and I think I kind of stumbled into it by accident, and then I kind of like carried it on. I think that my June was just do it in June, and different ones. So I just, and that's when my whole like jiggle for joy in January, because I know January can be a long month. You're like, well, what can I bring to people in January that's not like extra pressure and extra expectation, when you're like, as if like radically, I'm going to be this new person with new resolutions, and go, actually, what is just a little nudge to go, I can impact my day. just a smidge, and I can move it forward. I don't even need to jiggle because it wouldn't be my husband's joy. But like, blatantly. But I think like, but you can just put a song on, like that instant, that connection to nostalgia, or a song takes you back to a place in time or to people. It's beautiful. So I think that's so I'm gonna carry on with my hashtags. I'm thinking I'm just gonna carry on.
For those people listening who perhaps didn't catch the jiggle for January, what was jiggle for January? What did you do for it?
Let people have the challenge of going, look, join me. I'm going to put one song on a day and do one dance. So it's just, it felt like it was so I really had this big push for like gentle January, like we're still wintering and that is okay. We don't have to suddenly, like I said, radically become this new person, new energy when the whole world is still wintering, and it's okay to honour that. So I want to acknowledge it can be a difficult month. So what can we do that's in our power? That kind of go actually this, and I said, look, if dancing's not your thing, what other little thing, like read a book or light a candle, or like little things that make a difference to you. And I think when you look at yourself, like almost on a scale of 0 to 10, like 0 as in like really, really, really struggling, 10, I'm on top of the world, and you just think, right, I'm about a 4 today. What can I do? What do I need? And I don't think we ask ourselves that, especially mums. I don't think we ask ourselves that question, but we'll ask everybody else. We'll check in on everyone else. But actually just sit with yourself and go, Leah, what do you actually need now? Do you need an earlier night? Do you need to mother yourself? Do you need more water? Do you just need like to walk around the block and just, if I'm finding transition hard from, work to home, and I'm finding it hard to dig deep and give back again. Like, do I just need to go for a walk on the block and just have a bit of me just for a minute? And then I'll come back, I'll be a better version of me.
Yes.
That kind of, because that's what I talked to when I first started, and I was thinking about like being a joy coach and having, my business name, like Find Your Joy. And people were like, I'm talking to somebody I know really well. I was like, Leah, I struggle with self-care and I struggle with joy because it sounds selfish. And I think, we really need to unpack that. We really need to change the narrative on that, because when I give and I give and I give beyond what I can, and I just say yes to everything, and I'm running around trying to be everything to everyone, I end up burnt out and exhausted. And actually that's when I can't show up for you, because I'm like running on fumes, and that's when I'm going to pull out of things I've said yes to, because actually I find out I can't, really can't. But when I, honor the fact that I'm a human, I've got needs, and it's okay to have needs, and it's okay to advocate for yourself. That's when I show up differently, and I can give more to people. Or I go, right, okay, this, I'm doing this. I'm going to this event or this party, whatever. I'm going to need the next day to refill my cup, because that's going to take from me. Or maybe you're stepping in for family, and you go, right, okay, that's challenging, it's difficult at the moment. Right, I'm going to need something before it, maybe, or after. And I think it's just acknowledging joy isn't. It ripples out, and that's what I love about it. That actually, you as a mum, you finding joy, your kids love nothing better
to see
than see, your partners, your friends, your family. There's like, I think that I saw it on a reel, I think on Instagram or something, where there's somebody at a bus stop and he's laughing and he's laughing his head off. Yes,
yeah.
And everyone's like this, kind of like, just a bit moody in the morning, like right, round the bus stop, and then one by one, they catch the laugh.
Yeah.
That's what I want to bring. You're like, actually just catch the energy, catch the joy. What do you want to bring? And I think I've had like, and I've got my little sayings, like I've already said, I love loudly. And I was at me and my husband went to a gorgeous little kind of coffee shop in between these two beaches. And it was sunny, but really windy. And Joe was like, let's go drink our cup of tea inside. Like, no, it's sunny. I'm drinking it outside. So I had this cup of tea, and I was trying to, like, it's really windy. I was trying to like drink this cup of tea. And Joe was like, just put the lid on. And I was like, no, I want to drink my tea with the lid off. And I was like, I want to live life with the lid off. So that's kind of how that phrase is born. He argues that he said it. I'm like, no, I don't think you said it. It was me.
He's the joy coach.
Yeah. He's the man behind it. And it's hilarious because we're so different, me and my husband. So anybody listen to this that knows us, we're so different. Yin yang. Have you read? I'll have to send it to you. It's a gorgeous little quote about a babbling brook and a a deep ravine or something, or river, and basically the babbling brook, anything that goes into, like, anything they see and they goes, their head comes out their mouth. So that's completely, as you might have guessed, that's me. Whereas the big deep, no, reservoir, the big reservoir will just take it all in, and so me and my husband, we were dating, so he was in Cardiff and I was in Cambridge. And it was so rude because all my friends used to be like, "Oh, you're brave." I'm like, "Excuse me, you're meant to be my friend. Don't tell him that." But then they said, "I bet he gets back in the car, Leah, and he turns everything off and he just drives home in silence." I'm like, "Yeah, probably."
Because you're doing a lot of work now with, is it the Welsh government, and lots of like workshops and things like that. Do you want to
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I've got kind of different kind of remits because when I handed my notice back in March, I was like, yeah, that's it. I'm a joy coach. I want to work with one-to-one clients, and that's where I'm going to be at. And then I think I kind of thought, I think my head teacher at the time was talking about joy and, the impact for staff. And then I started thinking, well, actually, what if I did a joy session for staff? Because, it feels like joy's run out the building, and what a shame, and why, and it's almost, I used to kind of explain to her that I feel like the pressure and expectations just grow and grow and grow. So our well-being and our joy just kind of like sinks down. Whereas we just need to think, well, how can we, again, a bit like, living with the lid off, how do we just take away some of those expectations and pressures so that joy and our well-being gets a chance? And it's hard because there's also so many things outside of our control. But what I tried to do in that my first joy coaching session with there's a group of staff, what I tried to do is give them back their control of going, it's like we're waiting for teaching to catch up with where we are with our well-being, but it's not there. And we don't know when that's going to be. So maybe we need to make the change first. It's almost like, you kind of get on and you've all rowing, and actually we're all rowing harder, and actually the momentum, and it's almost like no one has said, I'm not sure I can keep up with this. I'm not sure. And because it's a vocation, and because people care, and because they want to do their best, they keep rowing harder and faster and faster. And actually it's now at a speed people can't maintain. Their well-being suffers, their mental health suffers, their home life suffers. And actually life's too short. We get one chance of this life. So so I wanted to bring in and go, what if we could look at these pockets? What if we could bring that more into school? Or joy look like in school? What are our barriers? I always tend to end a session with kind of like, what's one little start, one little stop that you could do that make a difference for you now? And just to give people back that kind of power. So I also did a Welsh Gov chat. They have a group called Mind Matters, which is brilliant, and they have internal and external speakers. So they had me in January, and it was the day after Blue Monday, and it was and it was my passion of like find the joy in the ordinary. And there's just a gorgeous poem about that, and just don't teach our children to strive for the extraordinary lives, but teach them the joy of the ordinary, teach them to enjoy tomatoes and apples, and grieve, let them grieve people that they lose. And, and basically end saying, because extraordinary will take care of itself. And that's exactly that, but I think with teaching, it's so tempting to go, I'll do that in half term, or I'll, and it's like, or weekend, or and we keep moving our joy, we keep moving it. But, we don't have that promise, and I told somebody at Christmas time, and they said, they felt like they'd found themselves again, but then they were sad because they know they had to put themselves back in a box, for the next half term. And I want to question that. I want to challenge that.
I had the same conversation today with a colleague of mine, and they simply said, I can't wait for half term because I get to be me again. I get to be human.
Absolutely. And actually, so often you get to the holidays, you're so burnt out and so exhausted. That's when you get ill. You just want to get all your appointments done. At the time you relax, you're back. And I just think, yeah, So
it's just crazy, isn't it?
Yes. So I'm excited because I think this coming year, I've got another school that I'm going to start doing joy coaching sessions with, which is amazing. Which is a school linked to my heart. My kids' school, which is amazing. So, and I'm speaking at the education show.
I know.
In October, and that was So here's what I'm like definitely proud of, because it's scary, but I've just been chucking my hat in the ring, whichever ring I can find. I'm just like, make it happen in March.
In February.
In February, yeah, absolutely.
Make it happen in March and February
and
all of the other months.
And every day, yeah, just go for it. But I just think, you know what, if you don't ask, you don't get. And so I went to it for the first time last year, and I wore like a bright blue dress, and I wore a leopard print jacket, and I wore like a colourful necklace. I felt like I am going as the joy coach, and I loved it. And I walked around and I smiled at people. And so you have like the stores and then there's seminars. And I came out of it just buzzing that I just, you know, made some contacts. And I love just introducing myself as the joy coach to anybody that winked at me or made any kind of eye contact. I was like, hi. So, and then I just thought, you know, what if I applied then to do a seminar next year? So I'm doing 2. So
not just one, I'm doing 2.
I'm doing 2.
I love that. So are you going to repeat the same seminar, or are you going to be doing 2 completely different ones?
No, 2 completely different ones.
Wow.
And I think it's kind of, one is, you know, helping kind of unlock joy in education. And then another one's like helping like leaders. I've got the titles, but like typical, like I can't. I should know
That's
them by
okay.
now.
We
But
can
I think
put them
part
in
of
the
me is
show
like,
notes.
yes, okay, lush, yeah, absolutely.
Are you coming this way to Joe's
networking
event?
Yes,
Because like she texted me and she was like, she's coming all the way from Wales, and I was like, I know, this is amazing.
So that again, that was asking. Like I tell you what, it's amazing. So I think so I connected with Joe through my. So where do I start? Yeah. So last year, May, and it was Mental Health Week, and it was move more for your mind. So I instantly thought, well, what's my go-to move? Well, it's dancing. Do you know what I mean? It's like always, my best exercise is always dancing because it's just so joyful for me. And I can't pace myself, and I'm all out. Do you know what I mean? I'm all in. You know, I'm none of this 2-stepping. I'm like, yeah, I'm there. So like, move aside Beyonce. But anyway, so that's kind of like, I don't think I did a couple of videos or something. And then I just had this idea of like, why didn't I just do a dance? Zoom. So ending come, we had somebody coming in from Australia that was like my roommates from uni, how amazing. And then Portugal, I think we've had. So did it. And then went on to my 9th this February. So like a week Wednesday is my next Dance for Joy. And it's movie themes this time. So because Oscars in February, it's like, yes, something you Dirty Dancing, Grease, all of those. And it's just, I do it on a random Wednesday once a month. And it's from your home to remind people that you matter. That it doesn't have to wait till the weekend. Your joy doesn't put off, and it just take up the space. Come as you are, and just, you know, the energy and seeing people find freedom. And I think first time people feel a bit self-conscious, but then they just don't care, and I'm going for it. So yeah, I'm the DJ, and it's just connection again, isn't it? And it's basically everything I stand for in one little 20-minute hit every month.
I was going to say, how long was it? But for 20 minutes, you can just dance and, you know, connect with people. And I think that's incredible. You know, there's a lot of technology gets a bad rep, I think, for a lot of reasons. You know, but it has opened things up for us all, because we would never have.
Well, that's how I met Joe.
You know,
yeah, and I think that's what I'm celebrating. I'm celebrating the people. So this, like, you know, like I said earlier about sunshine people, there are sunshine people online. Like, who are your sunshines? Who, by seeing what they're putting out there, by seeing their videos, make you feel real, make you feel seen, make you feel heard, make you feel loved. Who are those for you? Tap into them. And the people that aren't doing that, then don't follow them. Or, you know, if you're getting too much, you know, comparing too much, put your phone down and do something different. You know, you're like,
I find that so difficult.
It is difficult. So I've started leaving my phone in a different room because I don't trust myself. So there's app blocks, which I probably need to start, and I keep meaning to do, and I haven't done it yet. So what I'll try and do is so this is my kitchen area. I'll leave it in here, and I'll go, because if I'm watching TV, it's too tempting. My thumb's just too. So I'm trying to just mother myself a bit more and go, right, Leah, what do I need? But anyway, the question you actually asked.
I can't even remember the question I asked.
Are you impressed? I'm quite impressed myself.
I can't remember a thing.
I met Joe through online dancing. So that was it. And then she obviously does gorgeous networks. And I think I saw her she'd written a poem for Anna Martha, so it was our connection originally. And then yes, I just said, Joe, I'll come to your network. I'll be a speaker. And then she's got it all booked for the next couple of months. I went, I'm not putting it off because I thought I could wait. So nah, let's just do it. And I'm going to meet up with Anna as well, which is just amazing because I'm going to try not to fangirl over her, but I can't promise anything. But she knows. So I think she probably guessed what I'm like. So yes, I'm staying at hers, and we're going to just do a bit of I'm going to help with life and just walk and talk. And a lot of what I do and a lot of what I say has been significantly shaped by her. So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But again, if you don't ask,
that's it.
You don't
get. And it does make me think all of these amazing people I want to meet and all of these, like, so many different ideas that I have. I just think,
But look how brave you've already been. This time last year, if you told yourself what you've been doing. And I think I try and do that because I will often berate myself for not being further down the road, or, I should be doing this, or I haven't really. And then I go, Leah, what would I say to myself this time last year or 2 years ago? That Welsh Gov Zoom chat that I did, like 175 people came on for that, which is just phenomenal. But I'd never have believed I could do that, but what a privilege to share, your passion. And this podcast, look at the paths you are creating. You are living your brand. You are following the path less traveled, and you're finding your joy. And it's okay to take your time with that. It's okay to kind of go, I'm going to just see where this leads. And when I'm ready and the right time, I can jump all the way in,
I felt like that was a moment.
I know.
No.
And now I shall lead us with interpretive dance.
People won't be able to see this. Is the hope to create resources or like workbooks or something, journal-based things that people can actually have to then take them down this road of joy?
Yeah, I think I'm going down that kind of just journal prompts and reminders, and I think I'm researching now kind of almost like a £5 a month kind of membership, something that I could then offer, because I want it to be, you don't even need to think about it almost, that kind of like that you're going to go, look, it's a coffee and a cake.
Yes.
Price wise.
Yeah.
But each month, I get something that's going to help me, ground me, and then I could maybe offer lives or something within that membership, like once a month, like an evening with a joy coach, and it'll be recorded and members can get that.
And are you going to do one-to-one as well?
Yeah, so I've got like a one-to-one kind of coaching clients as well. I'm coaching a client at the moment, like a head teacher, which is amazing, because that's my program. So it's two-pronged. It's the coaching staff, but alongside that, coaching the head teacher, because what's really lonely, isn't it? I remember listening to a podcast and from a doctor saying, there's a board. So if anything happens, they're kind of all there. But actually, when you think about teaching, a lot comes, doesn't it, to the head teacher, and that can be lonely. So, what about their joy? What about their well-being? And actually, how can you encourage that to the staff? It's got to, let's ripple it down.
Yes, I would say in some ways it has to start there.
Yes, I was saying there's like almost three strands of joy in school. There's kind of like the leadership, what they can do externally, but then there's also what you bring, every person. We've got a responsibility with, like you said, what we bring, our energy, and what we focus on. If we focus on the negative, that's what we find. We focus on the positive, especially in school at the moment, what, so let's have a look, what are the positives, let's focus on those, how can we encourage them? But also then individually, how's your own joy? I've got responsibility for my joy, how am I cultivating it? How am I, is there connections? So I think, in terms of tips and tools, I'm definitely finding things that are key to our joy, like, connections with others. We've talked about belonging. Sometimes you can't see the person you really want to see. So like I said, one of my friends all the way in Australia, my best mate from uni, and she's massive in shaping, who I am, and especially with dance. So we've got so many things. But like just now I was in the shower and I played her, we made a playlist, so she's shared with me on Spotify, and I just playing and instantly takes me back to uni, you're like, so I think it's that those connections, even just sending somebody a message can do something for you. So I'm trying to develop my relationship with rest, because I think we don't honor rest. We see rest as a reward, as something you've got to get to, instead of realizing that actually you deserve rest now. And that's so often rest first, and then actually creativity and, but like how many teachers rest, like how many mums rest. So I see mums and teachers, very similar people. So that's probably why I'm like, my heart's at both. So I think it's that kind of, we put ourselves right to the bottom of the list, and you're like, oh, and how many times I'll just do this, or I'll just do this, I'll just, and actually what we're doing is, but you know what? Let's just stop, and let's make ourselves stop, and let's let it wait. And that was my message of going to the beach last week. My list was huge, but I left it because, otherwise I'll never get to me, so I think it's just that changing that, like, and you deserve the joy. And I always end most of my posts, or especially when I dance for joy, I'm like, this is here because you matter and your joy is important too. I think it's just, that's what I want to shower over people. And I know it sounds a bit like I'm on Jerry Springer, but I just but I'm still going to go for it.
But yeah, it's true. The to-do list will be there when you get back, and there's always something to do.
If we're gifted to our 80s or 90s, it is time and relationships with people. I think you asked me, how is my teaching? How has it shaped who I am as a joy coach? I've always been about relationships. So I think I'm like, like a rock. If you cut me in half, I'm like, joy, relationships, it's all kind of there. Energy, laughter, that kind of, because, relationships with the children, relationships with the parents, relationships with, LSAs you work with, it's, it's not money or, people at the end, it's time. It's with the people that matter. And that's why I'm like, love loudly, we lost somebody really dear to us in our family. And the things that came out about him at his funeral, and I just thought, oh gosh, wow, that's just so gorgeous. And, kept being referred to as like the kindest man, and you're just gorgeous. And there's these beautiful things. And you think, why do we wait, until somebody's not here to say all these things? So that's why I think I told you on the live that, like, my husband said, you can't say love loudly, Leah, it sounds rude. Well, I don't care. I'm saying it. I'm owning it. I'm like, let's love loudly, because you don't know. And actually, can you be told too many times, or can you, exactly. So yeah, I'm all for, and I often, when I've got a decision to make, or I'm thinking about something, I'll think, will I regret it? Will I regret not doing it? So, joy coaching, would I regret not following this path? Yeah, I definitely would regret not doing it. So I'm doing it. You're like, will I regret not asking? Yep, let's do it. That kind of, it's just a little thing. I kind of go, right, will I regret it? Okay, let's just go for it. There's a little cavern I kind of swam through in this gorgeous beach last year in West Wales. And I was like, oh, it was a bit scary. And I thought, Leah, you'll regret not doing it. So so it's just, you just gotta
go for it.
Exactly.
I want to do you got this card. Can we do this?
Yes, please. Yeah, I love these.
I just love these. These, because I told you about these, didn't I?
Yeah. No, tell me a bit more about them, because I don't know if I know completely.
So they were given to me by the group of sixth formers who I was working with on their devised work, and actually that piece itself was about beginnings and endings. And yeah, it was a very organic sort of devising process, and I kind of came back to myself, and I found the joy in teaching again, because I felt like I'd lost it. So they gave me these because we use them in every rehearsal. Anyway, I'm going to shuffle them, and then I'm going to take the top card whenever you say stop.
Oh, I love it. Okay, stop. In the name of love. Oh, sorry, I just always go into something. Or like, stop and listen.
Oh my gosh. The card that has come up is simply, I am important.
Oh, I love it. Look at that. I love it. So I introduced a mantra to my old school. So every child. So it was a deprived area of Cardiff. So and I watched The Help. I'm not sure if you've seen it, and it's beautiful and it kind of came from there. So every child every day gets told, I am loved, I am important, I am strong, I am special. And I always add, and from Mrs. Evans, you are lush. I was kind of using it with year 6 last week and just saying, like, you know what mantra do you need to hear? What do I need to hear? Like, these conversations we have with ourselves, I'm important, I matter. They are important to say and to keep saying to ourselves, because we forget them so often.